Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. That was a good episode. Did you guys like the episode? Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. Well, we've got Erinn Hayes here to talk about the show a little bit. You may know her from Children's Hospital. She was on Parenthood, Transparent, and the Hotwives of Las Vegas, of course. So let's bring her out. Erinn Hayes.
Brought it, and then there was some. Hi, everybody. Thank you for spending the afternoon here.
No, wait. The show does not shoot here in LA, right?
No, we shoot on Long Island. I've learned that since living there. It's not in Long Island. It's on Long Island.
On Long Island. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I always like to kind of go back a little bit before what we're going to talk about today, just to get early career stuff.
Okay.
So was it always that the path?
It really was. There was never, I was kind of fortunate enough to grow up in a household where my parents really were like, you can do whatever you want to do. And I think I was always a little bit of like just performer, class clown, and theater very young, and then went to the University of Colorado and got a BFA there. And then I'm from San Francisco, so I moved back there. Not Los Angeles first, because if you're from San Francisco, you have to hate Los Angeles. It's bred into you. And then was miserable there for a couple months and moved down here and was like, oh, look at this, work. That's nice, money.
Well, when you were studying, was it always like, this is what my career will be, or were you just like doing it and to see what would happen?
No, I always knew that this was really the only thing I was passionate about. I like other stuff, but there was never a thought in my mind that I have never had a backup plan. There's never been a plan B for me. I just was like, no, thanks.
Okay. So how did you, when you got to LA, what did you do? Because it's always like, okay, find your agent, take classes, those kinds of things that I think everybody does when they first get here.
Had like $133 to my name, had a panic attack, and I was in, you know what, I started out in this acting class called Actors Lab, and every week we had to, it was fantastic because it wasn't like that very beginning, or I wasn't in it for the craft of it so much as I was like, how do you tackle Hollywood? What is the business all about? What is it? So every week we had to go around in a circle and be like, what did you do for your career this week? And so that was fantastic. And then he'd be like, here's how you target an agent. Here's what you, and it was steps, and you had to go around and be accountable every week. And so that was what I got out of that. And like hounded this commercial agent. And then once I was like working in her office, and then kept pestering her, like, just let me do a scene for you. Let me do a scene for you. And me and my friend Brian Dietzen, who is now on NCIS, like went in and did a scene for her, and she was like, okay, I'll take you on. I didn't book anything with her, but I had an agent, and it led to other things.
And what does a good agent have to have? Because there's so many out there, and I'm sure at some point you're like, just sign me. But were you particular about who you wanted to represent you?
I mean, at the beginning, can any of us really afford to be particular? I certainly couldn't. It was really like, yes, at this point now in my career, if somebody, they have to be passionate about you. That's it. I don't care what level they're at, as long as you have somebody that is going to push for you and always think of you, that, like, 17 people don't have to die before you get pushed for the part. So, and I have parted ways with some agents where I really felt like just the bottom of their priority. So that's all I care. I mean, my manager, we just had a conversation and really enjoyed each other, and he had never seen me do anything, and was like, let's work together, and we still do today. And that was in 2004. Was that 2004? Yeah.
That's great. You're known mostly for comedy, but I looked through your credits, and you have drama in there. You've done some of that as well. But
yeah. Was
comedy kind of your main path, or were you just about acting?
Really just about acting. I mean, they're different casting directors, they're different doors. So you get in one door, and then the next door in that area is a little bit easier to get in, and then the next one, and then all of a sudden people are like, do you even like drama? I'm like, yes, I like all of it. I mean, naturally in my life, I enjoy laughing, and I'm more of a comedic person. But that's not all of who I am, and that's not all of what I enjoy doing. So now that I have a little bit of freedom in the comedic world, I'm like, all right, well, how can I use that to open up the other doors?
So what was that job that got you your SAG card?
I lived upstairs from Beau Bridges' son, Jordan Bridges, and he was doing a pilot, and I had been doing extra work for a while and just showing up every day and, doing the thing where you're like, if somebody in SAG doesn't show up, could I please? I'm here early. I don't eat too many snacks. I'm an actress. And it wasn't yielding anything. And then he was doing this pilot, and he was one of the leads. And I was like, I need it bad. And he got me 3 days on some huge crowd scene to get my SAG card. Yeah.
So I did look through your credits earlier today. Tell me about Final Stab. Ooh. What is Final Stab?
A waste of your time. No, listen, I got in trouble for saying that. And so, I know that it was a shitty movie in an interview, and somebody was like, how could you ever look down on, how could you talk bad about any job you've been in? I was like, I'm happy to have the work. Every job is wonderful, and it teaches you something. But it's not a good movie, man. It's a horror movie where, the whole thing, they used it, the dolly, or not the, what am I mean? The steady cam, but really let it wander. So the whole thing looks like it's shot on a boat. And there's a ton of lightning and thunder, but no rain. And it was just, the guys take their shirts off. My face was orange, but my neck was white. It was so many terrible things. But it's good for a lot. You could see the crew in my sunglasses at one point. There's the whole crew. Yeah, it's really, the reflection is pretty great. That's awesome. So no, maybe everybody go out and see Final Stab.
I kind of want to find it now. Is it out there? Is it on Netflix somewhere?
Yeah. Oh no, it's a horror movie. So that means it's in every bin at Walmart or Walgreens.
I'm going to look for Final Stab. Yeah. Well, I know the first time you and I talked was for Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
Which I'm a big fan of, and it's just crazy, silly, but it was so much fun to watch. But tell me about getting that job and what that did for you just as an actress, because I think it was really hard, some of the stuff you had to do on there.
Yeah, but it was hard, but it was also very, very fun. I mean, that was like a really nice lesson of, if your friends ask you to do something, you say yes. I will say yes to pretty much anything my friends ask me to do, just to, be a part and work in something that they've created. I think I was working on Worst Week. It was a CBS sitcom, and, it was felt very fancy. It was like this fancy network television show, and Rob Corddry called me up and said, I'm doing this little web series. Can we get you for a day? And so I asked for 1 day off of my fancy network television show that got canceled very shortly afterwards. And then 7 seasons later, we're winning Emmys and, nominated for an Emmy for this, and doing something that to date has been my favorite job of all time. They wrote well for women. They wrote well for everybody. Every episode was almost a reset. So it wasn't like if in one episode you're really down about your relationship, the next episode you never even had that relationship and you're married to somebody else and you're a spy. It was so wonderfully stupid. And so, I got to be in a spy movie and a romantic comedy and a political thriller and every, we had our Do the Right Thing episode. We had a Klingon episode. It was it was so ridiculous. And it was such a gift for acting because we had a spoof of Our Town. And it was all of our high school theater nerds came out because you just our space work went to oh no, everything you try to not do, they were go for it, just run wild and be huge and be ridiculous. So that, that job just kept every summer we would do it for 6 weeks.
Well, I remember one season, I don't know if it was the first or second, you died, but then you came back from the dead.
Yes.
Tell me how that worked on Children's Hospital.
We explained it in one sentence. That's how it worked. It was an 11-minute show. We had one sentence to explain anything. It was just like, what, you've never faked your own death because you had too many emails? That was it. And then I came back to life. And like one time we had Lake Bell giving birth to a full-grown Nick Kroll. And then the next episode, he was back as somebody else. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, it didn't matter. Nothing mattered.
Wasn't Lola also a ventriloquist, it was revealed?
Well, she's an impressionist. She's a master impressionist for the army. She was a lawyer. She's not a lot of friends. She was everything. It was wonderful.
Well, and then tell me how something like this comes into your life, Kevin Can Wait, because there's a lot of pilots that happen every year and they come around, and how did that work?
Yeah, I passed on this the first time it came around just because I have I've got 2 children. There they are. And a family in Los Angeles. And this is a show that shoots in New York. And, the first time the script came across, she was much more of a stereotypical sitcom wife. And I was like, I want to do something a little bit different, or I want to portray a different kind of relationship. And then they didn't find anybody, and they came back and said they just really want to read you. And I read the script again, and it was different and it was better. And then they said the magic words of ordered to series. And I said, all right. No, but honestly, I was really like, I'm gonna fly out to New York, and I'm gonna read with him, and I'm gonna see how I feel, and I'm just gonna take a little power and go like, hey, if this doesn't feel right, then I'm gonna step away. And I walked into the room, and he's awesome, and we had a lot of chemistry, and we had a lot of fun together, and it worked, and I could see it, and I was like, okay. And it's tricky because some episodes we do, it's Kevin Can Wait. His name is in the title. So of course he's going to be the wacky guy. So some episodes we're in things together, and then some episodes I am the wife who's like, honey, it's a little bit of a mix. So it's fun. I get to, I'm trying to, as an actor, when a script comes your way and you have all week to work on it, because the script we table read on Monday is definitely not the script we shoot on Friday nights. They work on a new draft every day. So I've found after all these years of working, I definitely have my voice on set, and I'm like, why is this he does it instead of a we does it, So it's fun to be on there, and I've wandered way off of what the question you asked me. I don't know.
That makes me wonder, though, because things change so much in sitcom world, where you might get pages just as you're shooting. What's the skill in that? Because you have to be able to just adapt or throw out what you've been working on all week and tackle something new in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think it does come across as me being highly unprepared, that I am still not memorized on a Friday morning when we have a taping on Friday night. But that's the thing. I've learned a really quick study with words, lines. I don't remember them now. I don't remember what was in that episode, but you can put a scene in front of me and I can memorize it very quick. I can memorize it very quickly, which is, great for auditions and whatever, when they hand you 10 pages of new stuff when you get there.
Well, you touched on something there. What's the challenge in having those conversations with the writers or the producers when you want to say, like, I don't really think this is right, or I don't feel comfortable with this? How do you do that? Because I'm sure sometimes you don't want to bring up a voice because you don't want to be, cast out. I mean, you're a part of the show, but when you're guesting on something or any project, you might want to throw in your ideas or your thoughts. When do you do that, and when don't you do that?
That's a hard one. I think having now worked enough, it's taken me a long time to find my voice on set, to say, hey, what's the perspective here? But like it or not, if you hire me, and it's like there's a certain amount, like, hey, if you believe the things you told me of why you hired me, then this is what comes with it. Then like I have a brain and I have a voice, and hey, we're portraying a 20-year marriage. Guess what? I've been with my husband for 20 years. I can bring some truth to this. And it really is just coming to terms with yourself of what I have to say on set is valid. And I guess I always preface it with, what do you think about this? Use it or don't. Here's an idea. Could Donna have a joke in here? This is just this scene I'm all set up. What if there was a joke here, and could it be this joke? I do believe like working on a show like Children's Hospital for so many years, where really improvisation was encouraged and everybody felt very secure, helped me to find my voice in comedy and on set certainly more.
And tell me about working with Kevin. And you have to, like you said, you have to create a 20-year marriage with somebody you've just met when you shoot the pilot.
Yeah.
How do you work on that, or do you just kind of trust chemistry and the scripts?
I always try to just, you gotta like force it. You gotta fake it, like chit chat in between, like so quick, like it's like a very quick, like find what you like about that person. Look, you're searching, like, and he makes it very easy. He's very personable, he's very kind, and he's open. So I just ask a lot of prying questions right at the beginning, like, how'd you meet your wife? Tell me about your kids. These are my kids. Whatever, kind of joke around and find a rapport. Although he's very like shy and pretty respectful, so I did have to tell him like, it's okay to touch me. we need to be married. Like you've been all over this. Like it's okay to make that. We need to make that realistic. It's a family sitcom, but like, it's okay to touch my leg. You just dive in. I will say the interesting thing as an actor working with somebody who is the star, the writer, the producer, it's tricky because you're not just working on a scene that someone else wrote, you're working on the scene that possibly he wrote. You don't know which jokes or which things they're attached to. So that was interesting to find my way around that. But he's the first one, like if we're working on something, he's like, well, we'll say this or something funnier. We'll definitely write something funnier than this. And so it's like you're kind of trying to play catch up because he's rewriting it in his head as we're rehearsing. But at the same time, I can pitch right to him and be like, well, what if Donna, what if we did this? He's like, oh, that's great. Or, okay, you're like, right.
Well, are there plans to flesh out Donna more as far as like see her family? Because I don't think we've met members of her family yet.
Yeah. We got a new showrunner. There was a parting of ways, and now we have somebody else in kind of steering the ship. And the real thing right now that we're working on is fleshing out the family unit that we have so far. And then, I always feel like the parents of the main people tend to be more of a season 2 kind of thing when you want to bring in the Elliot Goulds and the like great character actors that we have.
That would be great. Elliot Gould
yeah,
is
to
your dad.
where we all hope to head one day to be the whatever the Geller parents are. Right.
It's funny. Elliot Gould aside, I just saw him last week on the set of Doubt, and he said he's most recognized for Friends. So you bring up
Probably.
Monica Geller, says Friends is what he's recognized for. Anyway, that's an aside. But talk about, are you the kind of actor that looks at ratings, looks at reviews? Because I know some people just don't look at any of that, but others are very in tune with that. And with the first year show, you have to kind of pay attention to a degree, I guess. I
look at ratings. I no longer look at reviews. Don't be surprised. Critics don't love Kevin Can Wait. They don't like, they harp on Kevin James. They don't like, we're a traditional family sitcom. So I get it. I think they hated King of Queens. They don't love our show. But I look at ratings and that makes me happy. The show's doing well. People enjoy it. So yes and no. It's a real rabbit hole. And people are so mean online. They're not kind. It doesn't bring out the kindness. Well, it's either or.
Right.
It's like the glowing, but if you believe the glowing, then you have to believe the negative too. So best not believe any of it and just trust, like, you know, if I walk away from a taping feeling like I did something good, the same with auditions, you know, if you walk out of that room and you're like, that was the best I could do. That was it, you know, like now it's, if they want me, then they want me and wonderful. If they don't, then they're not looking for a you know, brunette. I don't know. Am I even brunette anymore? I don't know.
Well, despite what critics say, those shows doing well. It goes picked up for the rest of the season,
Yeah.
so it'll be around all season, which is great.
I gotta say too, I've been working long enough to know how rare a full, just number one, a pilot pickup. What, like, that is like, oh my God, you know, the light is shining down. And then to get a full season, I've never had that. So this feels like I am thoroughly enjoying it. I think, you know, Taylor, who plays Kendra, her first gig was Melissa and Joey, and that ran for like, you know, 200 episodes. And then this was like her next series thing, and she never even did the pilot of that. And I was like, oh, honey, oh, you don't know the waiting game and checking deadline and you know, just the steps that it takes to get on to television is, there's so many tears and so much hard work. So to be in this position now is like, all right, I'm just gonna, people are like, well, the second season, I was like, you shut your mouth. Let's enjoy the first season. Let's just take that. Let's be happy for that. Whatever comes else, that's wonderful.
Well, tell me about tackling something that's, I guess, leans more into Children's Hospital, like the Hotwives of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Because that's more parody, and you're making fun of something directly. But what's the approach of that?
I think like anything that I do, I've always been like, if I'm gonna go before this, like if I'm gonna go audition for a guest star, I'm gonna watch, like, you watch the show, you gotta know the tone. Or if the new season of television comes out, like, I'm gonna watch every single show once, so that if an audition comes up, I'm gonna know the tone. So I was very lucky that when I joined the Hotwives, they had already done Hotwives of Orlando, and so I knew the tone of it. So to jump in, it was just a little nerve-wracking that first day. I think the first day I shot, I didn't have any lines, and I didn't even know what I was gonna do. Like, none of us. And I was so insecure, and I was just like, afterwards I was like, you guys, do you like what I'm doing? And they're like, we all feel this way the first day. Nobody knows what they're gonna do with these characters. You gotta kind of get some dialogue first to find the voice and to find the physicality, to find what's funny about these people. But the good thing about a show like that, and any sort of parody show like that, is you can go pretty much as big as you want and not have to get pulled back. Because on a show like this, like, sometimes you try to go a little bit bigger, and they'll be like, sometimes it'll work, and sometimes they'll be like, let's just throw that away. Like, you don't need to throw anything onto that.
And how do you take those notes? Is it a challenge sometimes to take those notes?
No, I enjoy notes. I like notes. I mean, yeah, sure. Like, I always want feedback in terms of crafting the best thing for the audience. You know, I always felt very good, you know, when or going into an audition, when a casting director asks you to do it again and gives you a note, you're like, all right, that means you're interested. That means that you want to see what else I can do. Or it means you just really messed it up. But most likely it's because they want to see something else, or they want to see if you can take a note, you know?
Well, and with the Hotwives, what you're making fun of is already pretty outlandish and crazy.
That was the hard part of it.
Yeah, tell me about that, because it's not like it was a straight drama that you're making fun of. It's those shows.
No, they're already
crazy.
A parody of themselves.
Yeah.
I watched just enough to know that I didn't need to watch anymore. I mean, the character I was playing was basically the woman who was a Wiccan. We just made her in love with her brother, and pushed that as far as it could go. But no, those shows are ludicrous.
And how's the taping of it? Because you're working with some amazing actresses who are all hilarious. Was it challenging to just not laugh the whole time?
Yeah, but you do laugh, and then you move on, and then you go dead inside, and you do it again. But I always have to think, whenever I can't get it together, I just think two things: time and money. And then you look at the face of the crew member who's having the worst, who just wants to go home to their family, and that'll really kill a moment because they are like, you're not funny. Like, oh, they're still laughing. You know, like we all enjoy ourselves so much, and they would like to shoot the show and go home. Yeah.
Well, wait, so let's assume Kevin Kenwega has a nice long life. What do you think about as far as your career, like where a job like this can take you in your career? Because it is a nice launching pad for other things, perhaps.
I mean, aren't we all trying to move that needle a little bit? I would like to, number one, have a great time, and two, just be a viable option for the other projects I want to do. That's kind of where a lot of us keep hitting our heads, or where I keep hitting my head is that those two most terrifying words, like auditioning for an independent film, and you're like, it's an indie film, and they go, well, we just need a more meaningful option, and they're like, what? And it's such hurtful words to hear, like they needed somebody more meaningful, which means that they can sell tickets overseas. And that's all it means, and it's just money. So until you have that kind of recognition and are a viable option for best friend number 3 in Office Christmas Party, then like I just want to be best friend number 3, and then maybe the next time best friend number 2, and slowly number 1. Like I just want to continue to work, and so to do that, you gotta get more recognition. So this is a great job. It's fun to work with people who are so good at what they do. I want to enjoy it, and I want to get that recognition.
Now, going back to Kevin Kenwega, Donna is a mother. She has a couple kids. How is it acting with kids? Because you hear a lot of different stories, but how is it on the set?
Our kids are amazing. They're so professional and really funny. Like James, who plays the youngest, he's a stand-up comedian. He gets up in front of the audiences at tape nights and like does a quick little set. Mary Charles is like so grounded, and it's great. It can be really exhausting. There was a pilot that I did that I started to, like, I felt so bad. I was kind of avoiding the child, but and maybe it was like that. Maybe I was like that just like that young performer who's so full of energy and just wants to do it all the time and doesn't, you can't read a physical cue. So
and now
we're lucky.
Your kids are here in the audience.
Yeah.
If they want to go into this business,
guys.
what do you say to them?
I would say, really? I've seen no signs. I would say, put the book down. I would say what I say to all kids, like, because I have some friends who say their kids want to be in the business. They're like, how can I get an agent for them? How can I get a job? And I'm like, whoa. Get them into plays and see if they like the work. Because if you don't like the work, then you're definitely not going to like looking for the work, because that part is terrible. That part is soul crushing. And if you're not going to get there and know what to do, also, like, why are you going to put in all this effort if when you get there, you don't know what to do, and you can't like kill it and get the next job? Like, be prepared, know you love it, and like really honestly love it.
Well, I think that's a great place to stop. That's really good advice
Thanks,
for everybody.
you guys.
Thanks so much for being here, everybody. Thanks, Erinn.